Martin here and welcome back to the Speaker's 14-Day Challenge. As founder of Shift Speaker Training and author of the book, The Presentation Profits Blueprint, one of the things I've discovered when working with speakers over time is that there are really only 10 things. 10 things which, if you do it well rather than doing it poorly or not at all, mean the difference between a speaking business which is stunted in its growth and one which just grows and grows week on week, month on month, year on year. And it's those that we're talking about here in the challenge. Thank you so much for participating and thanks so much for the comments that you're leaving. It's really great to be seeing how you're all going. I love it. I'm absolutely loving it. So here we are at day 8 of the challenge, which means we're over the hump. We're on the way home. We're over halfway there, and we're looking at the second half today of a very important and crucial piece of the puzzle, which is building your community. Now, we talked about yesterday how building a community as a speaker is vital, and there's 2 key factors in it. Number 1 is your list size, and number 2 is the relationship that you have with that list, yes? We talked about one of the ways of building your list size is to have a great opt-in page built. And I told you to go and have a look at mine at shiftspeakertraining.com/blueprint to model because it works really well. That said, now that you're building the community, once someone opt-ins, well then what happens? What happens once someone opts into your community? That's when the real work begins, I believe, as a speaker. This is when you start sharing amazing information for free, right? You send them the gift. That's the first thing. The first gift, whether that be a free guide, a report, or videos, that's the first thing you send out. You told them, you promised them something amazing, you send it to them, and they are amazed. But it doesn't just stop there. You need to consistently build relationship over time. Now, this might look like a regular newsletter, for instance. It's vital to have something regular going out to your community. Now, it might look like an inbox newsletter. What we're doing these days, which I recommend, is we send an email out to our list to say, I've got this new article together for you, and we have the article hosted on the blog. That way, we're kind of multi-purposing. We've got articles going out to the World Wide Web, if you like, so that people can find me and find great information on the blog, but we're also sending that information out to our community. So we're multi-purposing. You got the idea? We want to minimize the amount of effort and maximize the return. So that's a strategy we're using at the moment. You might like to do that. The other thing you might like to do is run webinars, and I'm going to do a whole video on webinars very soon because I believe the fastest way to kickstart revenue inside any speaking business is to run a webinar. So I'll tell you about that in one of our upcoming videos. The next thing to talk about is how you need to do these things. They need to be regular. Right? It needs to be regular. It needs to be reliable. It needs to be consistent because people are building up a level of trust with you. So whether it be once a fortnight, once a month, once a week, or 3 times a week, does not matter. There's no such thing as too often, I believe. It's just being regular. People will get a level of whatever's right or regular for them in relationship with you. No one ever reads all of your emails. That's fine, right? Accept that. Sometimes you're going to get deleted very quickly. But the point here is don't worry about those few people that are busy and deleting things. Instead, worry about the ones who write in and say, oh, thank you so much for your article. I so needed to hear that. Thank you so much for continuing this information. I can't tell you how many people just in the last couple of weeks since we've started this challenge have written in and said, Jo, I've been participating in your community now for a couple of years and I want to thank you for how much impact you're making for me. So when you have a level of relationship like that, a level of trust within your community, then when it comes time to running an event, let's say, and this is the big problem that most of you told me you have, I don't know how to fill a room. Well, the problem you have with filling a room is that you don't have a community. So you need to be building the list, building the relationship with the list, therefore building your community so that by the time you want to actually run your event, you've got a few thousand people in your community. Does this make sense? You don't want to wait until you're running an event and you've only got 50 people on your list to try and fill it. You can do it that way, and we'll talk about that in another video as well, but it's much harder work. So the best thing you could be doing right now, even if you're just starting out, is build a community. And also, if you've been speaking for a long time, I can't tell you how important a community is. I know, excuse me, more than one very famous speaker who doesn't even own their own database. If you don't even own your own community, if you can't even get in contact with the people who've seen you speak, then you've got a serious problem on your hands. So make sure you're building your community consistently from right now. So your project for today is to think about how are you going to keep in touch with your community. Is it going to be regular newsletters you send out? Is it going to be regular blog posts and you email out and tell them there's a post, an article on the blog? Is it going to be, events, low-priced events, webinars? You don't have to do all of them. Keep it simple, keep it digestible, and keep it something you can commit to regularly. Share your comments below. Tell us what you already do, what works, what you've tried, what doesn't work. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow for day 9 of the challenge. Bye.